Hello, everyone. Courteney Cox, the woman who made millions laugh as Monica Geller on Friends and later inspired millions more with her resilience and charm off-screen, has recently left fans in shock and heartbreak after finally confirming the rumors about her longtime relationship with Snow Patrol guitarist Johnny McDaid. For years, fans believed Courteney and Johnny had found that elusive Hollywood miracle, a love built not on fame or glamour, but on mutual respect, understanding, and quiet devotion. But now, after nearly a decade of ups, downs, and whispered breakups, Courtney's emotional confession paints a far more complicated picture of love, sacrifice, and the cost of holding on when your heart is tired. Behind the red carpets, smiles, and Instagram posts, there has always been a silent story playing out, one that proves even the strongest relationships can struggle under the weight of distance, fame, and emotional walls that love alone can't tear down. To truly understand Courtney's heartbreak, we need to rewind to where it all began. After her divorce from actor David Arquette in 2013, a marriage that lasted over a decade and produced her beloved daughter Coco, Courtney had all but given up on finding love again. She described that period as one of rediscovery and solitude, saying she needed to learn how to be okay being alone. But just a year later, fate had other plans. In 2013, through mutual friend Ed Sheeran, Courtney met Johnny McDaid, a Northern Irish musician best known as the guitarist and songwriter for the band Snow Patrol. Their connection was instant, a meeting of two souls from different worlds, but with the same quiet depth. Ed Sheeran would later jokingly take credit for playing Cupid. But what began as a friendship quickly evolved into a love story that felt grounded, mature, and refreshingly real. By 2014, the two were inseparable, and within months, they were engaged. Fans celebrated the news, seeing it as a beautiful second chance for Courtney, a woman who had already endured public heartbreak, the pressures of fame, and the challenge of co-parenting while staying graceful in the spotlight. She seemed genuinely happy, glowing in interviews whenever Johnny's name came up. But by the end of 2015, that glow began to dim. Rumors started swirling that the couple had quietly split, and Courtney later confirmed that their engagement had indeed been called off. The reason, according to those close to them, wasn't a dramatic falling out, but something far more human: differences in priorities, lifestyles, and communication. Courtney loved Los Angeles, where her career, friends, and daughter were based. Johnny, on the other hand, was deeply rooted in the UK and his music career. Their love was real, but so was the 5,000-mile distance between them. For a while, it seemed that was the end. Courtney focused on her work and family, while Johnny threw himself into his music. But in 2016, they quietly reunited, not with flashy headlines or red carpet moments, but with quiet dinners, heartfelt phone calls, and a renewed sense of commitment. Courtney later admitted that the separation had been a wake-up call for both of them. "We broke up for 6 months and it was really hard," she said, "but we learned so much about ourselves." However, what fans didn't realize was that even as they reconciled, many of the old challenges remained, particularly the struggle of maintaining a relationship across continents. While Johnny spent much of his time in London and Dublin, Courtney was firmly anchored in Malibu. Their love had to survive on phone calls, video chats, and brief visits in between work commitments. Recently, though, Courteney Cox finally addressed the rumors that had been quietly building for months, that her relationship with Johnny McDaid had become distant once again. In a candid and emotional interview, she admitted that being apart for so long has taken a toll, not just on their relationship, but on her emotionally. "It's hard to keep something alive when you're not living in the same place," she confessed. "We've been through so much together, so many ups and downs. But sometimes love means letting go, or at least accepting that things may not look like the fairy tale you imagined. Those words broke fans' hearts, especially given how deeply Courtney had always spoken of Johnny in the past. For years, she referred to him as her best friend, the man who helped her heal after her divorce, who taught her patience, and who grounded her when fame became overwhelming. But as Courtney herself admitted, the pandemic years forced them to confront their relationship in ways they never had before. During lockdown, Courtney and Johnny were separated for 9 long months due to travel restrictions, a period she described as one of the hardest times of her life. So long, and you start to see how distance changes things, she said. You love each other, but you're living two separate lives. Fans remember how she opened up during that time about her loneliness, how she spent holidays without him, and how her daughter Coco was her emotional anchor. And while they eventually reunited, something had shifted. They didn't rush to get re-engaged or move in together, instead choosing to maintain a more flexible, non-traditional relationship. Courtney explained that it worked for them, that their love didn't need labels or timelines. But in hindsight, many now wonder if that arrangement was a way to avoid confronting a deeper emotional distance. What makes Courtney's recent confession so heartbreaking isn't just that she confirmed the rumors of struggle, it's how deeply introspective she was about it. She didn't place blame or speak in anger. Instead, she reflected on what it means to love someone deeply but still feel that something's missing. Johnny is one of the most incredible people I've ever known, she said softly. He's kind, talented, and has the biggest heart. But sometimes, even when two people love each other, their paths start to go in different directions. It was a mature, bittersweet acknowledgement that life and love aren't always linear. For fans who have followed Courtney's journey, from her days on Friends, where Monica's obsessive control masked her fear of loneliness, to her real-life battles with love and aging in Hollywood, this confession felt like another chapter in her lifelong story of vulnerability and courage. Insiders have described their relationship as complicated but filled with love. Friends close to Courtney say that while she and Johnny still talk and care deeply for one another, they've both come to accept that the future may not hold the traditional marriage fans once envisioned. For Courtney, her priority has always been her daughter, now a teenager preparing to spread her wings. Coco is my everything, she said repeatedly, emphasizing that being present as a mother has always come before everything else. And for Johnny, music remains his calling, one that takes him around the world. Neither has done anything wrong. They simply live lives that pull them in different directions. But Courtney's heartbreak doesn't come just from loss. It comes from growth. In her confession, she admitted that she has learned to find peace in uncertainty. In my 20s and 30s, I thought love meant forever, she said. Now I know love can mean being grateful for what you had, even if it doesn't last. That perspective struck fans deeply. It was a glimpse into a woman who has been through enough to know that endings aren't always failures. Sometimes they're just transitions. Still, despite the sadness, Courtney remains hopeful. She spoke fondly of Johnny, saying, "He'll always have a place in my heart. What we shared was real, and even as rumors swirl about whether they are still together or have quietly gone their separate ways, she seems at peace." Friends say she's focusing on her work, including new projects and her ongoing Friends nostalgia with co-stars, as well as her friendships with Jennifer Aniston and Lisa Kudrow, who have been her pillars of support through every major life event. So, when Courteney Cox finally confirmed the rumors about Johnny McDaid, that their love story may not have the Hollywood ending fans dreamed of, she did it with the same grace and authenticity that have defined her entire career. It wasn't a confession of scandal or betrayal, but a reflection on love's fragility, on the truth that sometimes the right people still can't make it work the way they hoped. Her heartbreak is quiet, dignified, and deeply human, a reminder that even the strongest, most beautiful connections can fade, not from lack of love, but from life's inevitable changes. And through it all, Courtney remains who she has always been, resilient, reflective, and still hopeful that love, in whatever form it takes, is always worth believing in. Thanks for watching.